Hello, I am Lindsay, and today I will be sharing with you what I personally eat, living a low-carb keto lifestyle. So here we go. What's a morning without starting with some coffee? I am making up a little almond milk creamer for myself this time, and I used about 1.5 cups of unsweetened vanilla almond milk, a few squeezes of that MCT oil you see there. It's probably between 1/3 and 1/2 cup of MCT oil, and then 3 scoops of custom collagen. This is their serving scoop, and I would argue it's about 3/8 of a cup of collagen powder, and then a dropper full of liquid stevia, which would probably equate to between 1/8 and 1/4 teaspoon of liquid stevia. And then using my little Teamy Mix-It, I'm able to blend it together easily and quickly and add that to my coffee. I really like using my Teamy Mix-It for things like this because I can store the liquid in that glass bottle and be able to use it throughout the day, throughout the several days. For breakfast, I'm going back to an oldie but a goodie that we used to do all the time back in like 2016 time frame, and that is about 1.5 cups of chopped kale that I sauteed over here in a skillet full of with butter, and then I cracked 3 eggs into my skillet and sort of like scrambled it a little bit, like didn't leave the yolks whole, but anyway. And then I put on some of my homemade mayonnaise, and I went with sriracha this time. So yeah, that's going to be really tasty. I love kale, but I just don't ever get around to eating it very often these days, and I don't quite remember why. Alright, this is cup of coffee number 3, and using that sort of almond milk pseudo creamer that I produced this morning, and that's going to make for a lovely breakfast. Now that my belly is full, I wanted to make a clarifying statement really fast. Number 1, I am not a healthcare professional. Number 2, I am not a nutritionist. Number 3, everything that you see in any of my videos is 100% descriptive, never prescriptive. I am just sharing the things that I am personally doing in my health and in my life, and absolutely none of that is a recommendation on what you need to be doing in your life. This is explicitly my quest for health. And number 4, I am following a ketogenic lifestyle because of my health, not because I would like to be skinny, not because I would like to be ripped, not because of any of those things. It is purely based on the chemical, hormonal health in my body. I am attempting to steer as far away from insulin resistance as I possibly can and stay as far away from diabetes as I possibly can. I am doing this for a greater purpose than just weight loss. So if that's something you are interested in watching, I invite you to hang around, and let's keep going on with our day. It is lunchtime, 12:51. I am starving, and we've been focused a lot on school lessons today. So right here I have whipped up some lunch. This is some tilapia. It's 1 fillet. I know tilapia is not the most amazing fish on the planet, but I did buy it, therefore I will be eating it. I used a sort of like a keto breading that I just kind of threw together. It's just some pork rinds, some of my baking blend, a little bit of salt, pepper, that kind of thing. I pan cooked it in butter, and I also did the same with this. This was a small zucchini that I just sliced up and cooked in butter with some salt and pepper. I put a little bit of my homemade mayonnaise, and today feels like sriracha kind of a day, so we're just sticking with the sriracha. And then I'm going to have this grapefruit and orange, or rather orange and grapefruit aha. Alright, so kind of a piecemeal dinner tonight from the freezer to clear the space out and make sure we use things up before they go to waste. I have just some romaine that I have sort of chopped up and put some of my homemade ranch on, and then I've got the leftover lasagna pie. I never did a video on this. This was kind of like a flop of a recipe. It's a Trim Healthy Mama savory crust, and then just like cheese and like a ground beef based lasagna sauce, and I'm pretty sure there are zucchini in there as well, mozzarella on top. So it was kind of a failed thing. It's not the most amazing thing on the planet, so definitely not something I'm going to be doing a recipe video for, but I'm going to clear that out of the fridge so it does not go to the waste.
One thing that Jared and I love to do at night is have a cup of hot tea, and tonight I'm choosing the Teamy Chai tea. This does have some caffeine to it, but I haven't noticed any sort of like adverse effects for myself, and it's really spicy and delicious, and it's a little bit chillier in the evenings now that it's starting to become fall, and this just felt like the right choice. We find that eating desserts every single night is not ideal for us health-wise, so we like to use the teas on nights we don't have dessert. Good morning, good morning. It's time for day 2. I have leftover cream from yesterday that I am using in my coffee, and I have not waited for the coffee pot to finish brewing its entire pot. I don't know if any of y'all are as impatient as I am for the first cup of coffee in the morning, but there it is. I let it get about halfway full before I start pouring my own cup. So I'm going to go ahead and have a second cup this morning of this delicious creamer and coffee. I have really been enjoying this almond milk creamer concoction that I've been doing. Okay, it is really time to get the girls going with school lessons in about 5 or 6 minutes. I am going to whip up this really fast breakfast for myself, just a cup of that unsweetened vanilla almond milk and a serving of the Trim Healthy Mama whey protein and chocolate, and then a little squeeze of MCT oil. That's probably not quite a full tablespoon, but just enough fat to kind of keep me going. I really love MCT oil right now.
We are in the middle of lessons and I am starving. That single serving of the Trim Healthy Mama protein powder did not tide me over. I mean, I only had 1 cup of almond milk with it. Anyway, I'm going to grab a handful of pecans, a slice or 2 of the pepper jack cheese, and we have got more lessons to keep chugging along through. Okay, it is 1 o'clock and we are ready for lunch. I am hungry. It's been kind of a weird food day. It's been a little bit stressful. Okay, so in here I did 2 cups of kale that I sauteed in some of this olive oil, and then I added in some kielbasa, about 1/3 of a link, so that's 2 servings of that. And then I sauteed that, and once I pulled it out, I popped on the little yellow things you see as large flake nutritional yeast, and then I also sprinkled on some apple cider vinegar and just a touch more olive oil, and it's just kind of like a little hot salad for lunch today. Oh, also I have drunk 3 of these so far and I'm still dying of thirst. Okay, it is, what is this doing? Nope. Okay, it is 1:49. It's been a long day and it's not even over yet. Okay, last week I had brewed some decaf coffee and did not drink much of it, so I stuck it in a pitcher to keep in the fridge. Decided it was time to pull that out, so I have warmed up one of those or some of this in my mug here, and I made some more of this almond creamer that I'm just kind of whipping up myself, and I'm going to go sit down and de-stress for a little bit. Well, now you finally get to see my face for the first time today. So this is day 2 of full days of keto eating, and it has been quite the whirlwind of a day already. It is, what time is it? It is like 2:10 right now. And we didn't finish all of the lessons yet. We still have Latin to work through, but that we're going to sit down and do together after quiet time. All of us girls needed a break. Jared, he's off at work, so he's, he is removed from the stress of the almost 3-year-old. She was very loud and very adamant with her needs for today, and it was creating quite a bit of stress in the house. So It's all fine. She's off taking a nap, which she desperately needs. The big girls are having their quiet time. I'm having some solitude for just a few minutes, and it is glorious. So this is my half cup of coffee, and it occurred to me, I've drunk half of it so far since I actually showed it to you. It occurred to me that I inadvertently cut out heavy whipping cream from my life. And my last What I Eat in a Day video, I talked a lot about using egg fast meals for lunch and for breakfast to really kind of help my brain just not think about things. And then the past 2 days, all I have wanted is like fresh greens that I wilt down in a skillet, like sauteed fresh greens, which is really good for thyroid help. It helps to break down the goitrogens in those leafy greens. So I personally just prefer them that way, and they get so caramelized if you let them go a little bit long, and I love that. Anyway, so the past couple of days I've just been wanting like kale and eggs or kale and some kind of a meat. And so I've just kind of gone with it because that's the way it is. But I decided to not drink any cream in my coffee, instead do like this little almond milk and collagen and MCT oil thing that I've been doing. I decided to start that up on Sunday when I was on worship team because I felt like there's some evidence that says that dairy can produce mucus, or it can cause mucus to increase, or whatever. Gross words, I know. So it was one of those things where it was like, okay, I can tell a difference in my voice whenever I have had a lot of cream or a lot of dairy, and it just hasn't been improving things. And I have been in a place where I want to improve myself in that realm. And I keep having like the discussion with myself, well, back whenever you were training every day, you were at this level, and now listen to you. You're not even remotely close to that level anymore. And sure, part of that could be like hormones shifting because I am mid-30s. It could be the fact that I'm having just too much dairy. Back in the day, I didn't drink coffee. And so that changed. And even whenever I first started drinking coffee, I was drinking non-dairy creamers in coffee. So it hasn't been until 2016 when I switched over from drinking things that had, like the International Delight, just like complete chemical laden coffee creamers. I completely eradicated those from my life and went straight to half and half or heavy cream. And so I think that has created a negative impact on my vocal agility. So anyway, Sunday I decided, we're going to start with tea, and we're just going to go to non-dairy, like cream with the MCT oil and the almond milk. I've struggled with almond milk in the past. It just doesn't give like the same kind of mouthfeel that cream gives. And I've struggled with just MCT oil because it doesn't give the same mouthfeel that real cream does. But I also don't want to go through and buy things like the Nut Pods or Califia Farms has their non-dairy creamer that is low carb friendly. But, I don't want to buy those things because that's just one more thing to have to go hunt down when I could just whip something up myself. So that's what I've been doing, and I've been waxing on poetic about this for entirely too long. Anyway, I just carried through. On Sunday, I just didn't have any heavy whipping cream. On Monday, I didn't do it, and so I just have continued on this track, and I'm not hating it, to be honest with you. I have not been dairy-free because I have been having cheese with things. I had dinner last night that had cheese all in it. It was a lasagna pie that you saw, and that had tons of mozzarella. It had tons of cottage cheese, so it's not a cheese-free, dairy-free thing for me right now. It is just eliminating the heavy whipping cream and seeing how that helps my vocal agility. So there is that. It was just one of those weird things that just kind of like I thought about while I was sitting here drinking this coffee. I was like, I haven't really mentioned that. That should be a thing to mention. Anyway, I'm going to go back to reading some stuff. All right, time for some dinner. And what I have here is, here's my plate. This is some chicken tenders that I just covered in some G. Hughes original barbecue sauce, so super low carb. And and baked that off in the oven. I did a bunch of Brussels sprouts with some bacon bits. So that's what Jared and I will have. The girls have added potatoes, but for dessert I have started on a little kind of like a chayote squash compote that I'm going to boil off so that the sauce gets a little bit thicker. Okay, it is the end of the night. We just got the girls off to bed, and I have made a little dessert for us. Here we go. This is that, hang on, see if I can't situate myself here. Okay, this is that chayote squash that I cooked in my Instant Pot. It's just got a little bit of erythritol for sweetener and some cinnamon and a little glucomannan to thicken up that sauce that I cooked it in. These little chunks of cake that I popped through the air fryer are actually from a recipe that I had shown back in Memorial Day time frame, and that particular recipe had made like too much, so we froze the rest of it, and it just kind of helps with some little desserts. And then I put about a tablespoon of heavy whipping cream that I whipped, even though I'm trying to not use quite so much heavy whipping cream. And that is where I'm going to leave you. Thank you so much for joining me today, sharing what I eat, eating a low-carb keto lifestyle. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope to see you in the next one.